Darkcast. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
Welcome to Creepy Tapas,
where we do the opposite of deep dives and bring you tiny tastes of terror connected by a common ingredient.
True stories to haunt and chill you and the pop culture they inspired.
Or at least the movies and books that remind us of them.
Join us as we descend into darkness,
beginning with the lighter side of our weekly topic,
and wrapping with a full dark, no stars account of terror, madness, murder, and more. It's Creepy Tapas, y'all.
It's Follie A Deux, part 2, my friend. I want to get creepy with you. Forever. Creepy friends forever.
And ever.
We'll be crazy together.
Probably.
You know what they say, 2 heads are better than 1. A second person brings a unique perspective and may notice different details or be informed by different life experiences. Although, what if another person's perspective is far away from the reality you know? What if your long-term relationship and reinforcement of one another's beliefs becomes harmful? Could you be driven to running away from an invisible threat? Could you be capable of murder? A rare form of mass hysteria. Today's 2-part episode is a madness for 2. Follie A Deux. What truths lie beyond the imagination in a world where reality is often more horrid than fiction? Come along, ghoul fiends, as we descend into darkness on today's episode of Creepy Tapas. Greetings, ghoul fiends. I'm Ash.
And I'm Jordan.
Man, this episode is wild, y'all. We got some crazy stories for you concerning our last topic. Are you ready? Follie A Deux.
Nice. Look at you. You've been practicing, haven't you?
No more Follie A Ducks.
Follie A Deux. That one was my favorite.
So Follie A Deux, a madness for 2. No, it's kind of sweet, really.
It actually translates to madness of 2.
Yeah, but it's so much more romantic. Madness.
You all the time trying to make something fluffy.
Hey, you know.
Fluff it up, pal.
You got to fluff it up, you know. We are going crazy.
Ooh.
TJ and I actually got done watching a movie just now about a couple that goes crazy, and I thought it was relevant.
Right on.
His house.
In this house. Something actually happens.
Yeah, in their house, you actually see some shit.
Oh, God. I'll never forget that garbage.
I know. I'm traumatized.
We watched Megan yesterday.
What'd you think?
It was okay. I didn't hate it. It wasn't what I expected. But at the same time, like I counted at the end and I think she only killed 5 people. Like I was expecting her to go on this rampage and it was more of a story than brutality.
That's why I said it was appropriate for kids. Yeah, because it's not.
Well, Axel, it wasn't brutal enough for Axel to get into it. He was bored.
Word?
He was like, this is boring. I don't want to watch this. But he got up and left way before anything exciting happened.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, I guess from a kid perspective, it's pretty slow. Like,
yeah, he loved Child's Play. That's why we tried to watch Megan, because he loved Child's Play. So I've been waiting for Megan to come out on the streaming network so I didn't have to take him to the movie theater. Because he's real loud. Like, there's no talent. He's going to interrupt the movie for everybody else.
Yeah.
So anyways, I was waiting. And it finally popped up on the streaming networks. So we watched it last night, but he just, no, wasn't having it.
It happens. I think that if he got the movie out of context, like the last 20 minutes and just like happened to waddle in when, you know, the finale was happening, he might dig it a little bit more when she's got her fucked up half robot, half doll face.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I liked it. And I guess she like uploaded herself to the cloud or whatever. And that was the thing at the end, right?
That's what I'm guessing, especially since they're
decided they're making another one. It was all right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was fine. It was better than I thought it would be because I had the bar set pretty low.
Same. Yeah. I will agree with all that. It was better than I expected.
Mm-hmm. But
I get your Terminator vibe.
Right? Yeah.
It was definitely more Terminator than it was Chucky.
Especially the ending. Spoiler alert for Megan, when her face starts like peeling off and she's got like, you know, you can see the little robo flesh underneath. It also had a little bit of a Blade Runner tone to it. There were kind of like themes throughout about like robots being self-aware and being so close to humans that it's uncanny, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
I really liked Bruce.
yeah, me too. Me too. I thought everyone did a fine job. And like I said, I really liked that an acrobat and a gymnast got to have, you know, 11-year-old girl got to do some pretty kick-ass shit. Pretty cool
Yeah.
stunts. I can't do those things. I can't run on 4 legs. I'll fucking break a hip. I'm old.
I mean, I don't know that I've tried in a really long time. I'm pretty old too, but
Oh,
I'm limber.
you'd be
I
fine.
got this.
Jordan's a fucking superhero. At some point, she went to the Fountain of Youth.
We actually did go to the Fountain of
Mhm.
Youth. Me and my mom and Axel went. That was our makeup trip because in 2020 we had to cancel Disney. So we went to the Fountain of Youth and we went scuba diving at that aquarium in St. Augustine and did all this and that. But yeah, we went to the Fountain of Youth. I drank that fart water. Shit was nasty.
Telling you what, that's like kissing the Blarney
Straight up
Stone.
sulfur.
You probably gave yourself all kinds of syphilis that just hasn't surfaced yet.
I mean, whatever. I'm doing fine. You know, it's funny. My mom went back for more. I was like, you like that fart water? She was like, yeah, it's fine. She was like, I need all I can get.
I'm thirsty.
I'm a thirsty bitch.
I could
My mom's not a thirsty bitch.
No. She's a very sweet woman. She's a very sweet woman.
She is sweet. She texted me the other night. She was like, Jordan, I figured out where we could go on our next vacation. And she was like cracking the fuck up. And she called me because I wasn't responding to her text messages fast enough. And she was like, hi, did you see this? I found a 5-star resort in Thailand in this place called Phuket. I was like, I mean, first off, it's pronounced Phuket, but you know, whatever. She said Phuket like 10 times in this conversation. And she was
this is a
cracking
woman
her.
who never swears.
Oh,
never
no, never.
swears.
Never.
No.
She was like, can you believe I just said fuck it like 10 times? I was like, no, actually, I can't.
I
But
can't.
I'm
I
loving
almost
it.
want to call her and be like, I heard you found a city in Thailand.
Can you say that for me, please?
Care to elaborate?
Yeah, it was so funny. She was like, it's real pretty. This place called Phuket. But it is really pretty. And there's a 5-star resort you can stay at for $99 a night.
$99 a night?
Son of a bitch.
Why, that's a steal at that price. It's
Right?
costing us money not to go, I'd say.
It really is.
Follie A Deux. A shared psychotic disorder can occasionally involve more people with close bonds, known as
Follie A Trois.
I was like, I'm gonna save that for her because I know she wants to say it.
I do. I just wanted to say A Trois again.
A trois. Or folie en famille, meaning family madness, first identified in the 19th century by Charles Lesiguieux and Jean-Pierre Fallet.
Ooh, I'm liking their names.
Jean-Pierre. Jean-Pierre. I know. That's a strong name. Like
I know. And I can be like Lumiere and like aggressive with it.
Yeah. You
Jean-Pierre.
Oh,
yes, oui.
The first known case study appears in Enoch and Ball's Uncommon Psychiatric Syndromes. Were you laughing at Balls?
I had to look and see if that's what you said.
You are
I'm
5.
super immature. I heard Enoch and balls. I'm like, what? What about balls?
Well, balls all over your uncommon psychiatric syndromes.
Okay.
This study involved a woman called Margaret and her husband Michael in the 19th century. The couple were both 34 years old, and they were found to be sharing paranoid delusions about an intruder. So they basically thought that a stranger or an entity, they weren't really clear which, was coming into the house, like spreading dust on everything and wearing down their shoes, which seem like really random things. But if you think to like the time that this happened, wearing down someone's shoes was probably a big fucking deal. Like I'd be like, dude, those are supposed to last me like at least 15 years of toiling in the fields.
Well, maybe not that long, but a good year of work. I need to get out of these shoes.
Now I need to go to the cobbler. I just got back from the fucking cobbler. This is ridiculous. Like I'd be sending him the cobble bill.
Yeah, well, I don't know that they would pay it, especially if they didn't know who it was.
Well,
and why, like, spreading dust? What kind of malicious act is that? I'm going to put dust all over your house.
I bet it's sort of like to undo Margaret's housework.
Oh.
It doesn't, I'm just inferring this from the era, but Margaret's housework and Michael's working. you know, like wearing his shoes down seems like a really specific, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's my take on it. Really,
Okay.
really, really odd stranger coming in just to do that. But essentially,
Right.
Margaret and Michael got themselves into a feedback loop where they reinforced each other's delusions, similar to how we discussed last week. And if you haven't listened to part 1, please go check it out real quick and come on back. We'll still be here. So you can just come back. In part 1, we get into a little bit about how Follie A Deux is diagnosed, symptoms, and what we know in the way of identifying cases of it. There was a case in the 90s where the law was able to step in before things got, in my opinion, like from bad to like irretrievably bad. They both suffered from mental illnesses. Bob had schizophrenia and he suffered from auditory hallucinations. So basically, like, he just heard a bunch of shit that wasn't really there. And in these fugues, he would hear from spirits that his newborn daughter was possessed by voodoo demons.
Uh-oh.
That's bad.
That
you know,
is bad.
when the spirits start telling you the voodoo got a hold on your kid,
I mean, you got to be worried about shit like that.
it's time to get out.
It is.
Leave
Get away
that
from
child.
that baby.
Just leave it.
Yeah.
Just go live somewhere else. It'll be fine. It's got fucking voodoo demons in it.
Yeah, it'll survive.
It'll be
Demons will keep it
cool.
alive.
Yeah, like the demons
Fine.
aren't gonna let it
It's
die.
fine.
It's fine.
The kid no longer needs you.
It's fine.
Totally kidding. Don't abandon
Yeah.
your
Oh my
children.
God. Yeah. Please don't leave your children.
Don't do that.
No. Cheryl suffered from intellectual disabilities, which made her a classic secondary to Bob's primary urges to slip into an alternate reality. So Bob was, remember how we were talking about last week that there's a primary and the secondary in these cases. And just in case you want to listen to this episode and you haven't listened to last week, as a refresher, the primary is somebody who has the biggest cornucopia of mental disorders in the relationship,
but also the stronger power dynamic.
It's usually somebody who's more extroverted, a little more dominant personality, that kind of thing, whereas the secondary tends to be a passive person, and they'll usually suffer from something like anxiety, depression, so a more mild form of whatever the primary is experiencing. When they get stuck in these kind of constant feedback loops, they get into a Facebook algorithm with each other. And they just are like, yes, there's demons.
Sure.
Yes. Before you know it, here it is.
There we are, sharing a delusion.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna
Believe
do?
it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Go
That's
along
what.
with it. It's a
You
fucking
got
roller coaster
you
ride.
got the damn Follie A Deux. You're probably just gonna die now. I don't even know what to tell you.
You're probably just gonna.
Sounds
I don't think it kills you.
very dangerous. It sounds very dangerous
For other people. I think other people would need to watch out. Well, hell, I don't know. Your delusions could make you.
I was going to say at the end of this episode, you might have a different opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say
Bob had successfully convinced Cheryl of the baby's possession, therefore sending her into a fit of paranoia. Cheryl became terrified of being left alone. Bob worked overnight shifts, which meant that Cheryl and her daughter, who, again, she believed was a vessel for voodoo spirits, would be all alone together.
This is dangerous.
I mean, the head's spinning around. It's spewing pea soup everywhere.
Oh, God.
It's telling you your mother sucks dicks in hell. Like, it's terrifying. Like,
it is terrifying.
It's terrifying. So
poor Cheryl.
Yeah, poor Cheryl. Absolutely. I can't believe Bob would leave her in the lurch like that. Fucking A. Just like a man.
Right. I gotta go to work.
Bye. You deal with the voodoo baby. That was way too scary for Cheryl. She was paranoid that she would also be taken hostage by the spirits, which, reasonable thing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Cheryl began sleeping in her car outside of Bob's job in the parking lot overnight while he worked. She and the baby would just go fucking chill in the car and go to sleep outside.
Okay. I mean, I feel like being in a house with Voodoo Baby versus being in a tiny car with Voodoo Baby. Like, I feel like you're safer in the house.
Voodoo Baby can maybe go in a crib with a monitor in the house, and you can
maybe
go on the other side of the door and wait for Voodoo Baby to start levitating.
Car is kind of a confined space.
It's a little too close.
It is. Yeah.
Here's where the joke stop coming as freely. On one of these evenings, Cheryl was violently assaulted while her infant daughter slept in the car. Yeah, it was a sexual assault, very ugly. And in the midst of the struggle, Cheryl's daughter was dropped onto the ground and injured. And although the court papers were not specific as to how she was harmed, the report filed regarding the baby's injury and Cheryl's assault launched an investigation, which would ultimately result in the baby being taken by the state and the parents given psychiatric help.
Aww.
So, yeah, it did not have a happy ending for Bob and Cheryl and Voodoo Baby.
Was it just some random person in the parking lot?
The case wasn't really clear. It just said that she had been sexually assaulted and violently attacked. Like,
God.
I'm just surmising that she was trying to maybe get away with the baby and dropped her. So yeah, it's a really
terrible.
harrowing situation. But the whole point of it here is that without that Follie A Deux, that shared delusion that they had a voodoo baby to begin with, and while we can giggle and be like a fucking voodoo baby, like come on, they really did believe that, and that led Cheryl to this decision that would ultimately leave her with no more voodoo baby, I guess, to worry about.
Well, she had a lot of other things to worry about, though.
Yeah, she did. And they got psychiatric help, I think is the most important part of the story, is that they weren't locked away. Like, yeah, they lost their kid, which I mean.
Well, but after they finished their treatment, they probably got their kid back.
I mean, I don't know. The document didn't go that far, but sometimes in situations like that, they're just like, new family.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe, but
I mean, I don't know. We're just like straight up talking shit. Like that was not.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. No idea.
Just a bunch of conjecture. There was also this really bad story we talked about back in episode 3, if you remember, in Possession, where this family had become convinced that their 3-year-old was possessed. You remember that, by the devil?
I do.
And that was a terrible
story.
Oh my
too.
God. Yeah. Basically, if you haven't listened to that episode, trigger warning, it does involve the death of a child. This poor 3-year-old, they tried to exorcise her demons, and her mother, her uncle, and her grandfather all ended up murdering her in the process of trying to, quote, exorcise Satan from her, I guess. But their reasoning was because they were like,
yeah, she was crying in the night and she couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, she wouldn't go to sleep.
So naturally, she prayed over, and the praying didn't work because,
No, didn't make the baby stop crying. The baby cried harder, probably.
I can't believe that praying wouldn't make that child stop crying.
It's unreal to me that wouldn't work out. So her granddad was a preacher at one of those little tiny churches. And, I think that they're still working on sentencing. I know that they'd all been convicted in trial, but I think that they're still awaiting sentencing. And I didn't see anything in their court papers about a Follie A Deux, but I think it's a classic example. I mean, You've got the dad.
They all 3 believed that this 3-year-old was possessed to the point where they choked her out and fucking crushed her chest.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Ugh. Yeah. I researched the hell out of these cases, and then it's like I kind of try to scrub I close all the tabs in my browser after I'm done researching, and I'm like, and we're done. No more of that now.
I gotta stop thinking about that one.
Oh yeah. Last night I needed 3 hours of Bob's Burgers after writing this one. So I think that they were a Follie A Deux. Sometimes these delusions can go too far, and unfortunately, really, really innocent little tiny sweeties die sometimes. That's really bad. We're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about a couple more really heart-wrenching, terrible tales. Won't that be fun? So
Yay. Be right back, y'all.
Stick with us.
Well, hello there. I'm Regina King, the Evil Queen.
And I'm Lynn Roskamp, the Docent of Darkness, and we're the hosts of Disturbing Interests.
Do you get excited about mummies, decorate in skulls, obsess over the loss of the Library of Alexandria, even though it was lost in a different age?
Do you kill the conversation with your in-depth serial killer knowledge, facts about items made out of human skin, or have a strange longing to know the softer side of Mothman?
Have you spent an objectively disproportionate amount of time studying the life of H.H. Holmes?
Oh, I wouldn't know anybody like that. No, certainly not.
Well, I mean, we did call our podcast Disturbing Interest for a reason.
That's right, we've got them, and we are doing you the favor of keeping the questions like, at what temperature does it take to destroy a cadaver out of your browsing history?
Well, we hope.
Because with us, you might be disturbed.
But you're not alone. You can find us on any podcasting platform under Disturbing Interest, or check us out online at disturbinginterest.com.
Hey there, Ghoul Fiends. It's Ash from Creepy Tapas. If you know me, you know I love to spend countless hours browsing independent businesses, putting things in my shopping cart that I only buy once a year when I spend all of my money supporting all of your businesses. Well, I found the cutest little online shop on Etsy called Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood specializes in unique accent candles with an inventory that consists of one-of-a-kind handmade candles that can fit in a variety of spaces and aesthetics. Wick of the Wood always has their eye out for new candle molds, thrifted containers, and other inspiration. The idea that everyone can have a candle that fits whatever quirky space they need inspires Wick of the Wood to think outside the candle mold and make any idea you might have a reality. Since she was a little girl, the owner has always dreamt of having a little shop where she could sell her handmade items. Under the watchful eye of her dog, she lovingly hand makes each item, packages them, and mails them to you from Seattle, Washington. But you don't have to take it from me. Here are some testimonials from several happy Wick of the Wood customers. Susie says, 5 stars.
I've ordered from this shop, and every time it's an amazing experience. Everything smells amazing, and the packaging is always so cute and functional. This is my favorite candle shop.
Tandra also gives Wick of the Wood 5 stars.
These are so cool. I only burned 3 so I could keep one for show.
Another 5 stars from Duar, who says,
The seller is so kind. Beautifully packaged. The candles smell and look amazing. Bought it for my bestie roomie and she loves it. Thank you, and thank you for the freebies too.
Ooh, freebies. Those are just a few of the amazing reviews over at Wick of the Wood. I ordered a few for Christmas and I cannot wait to smell them and give them as gifts. Guess what you're getting for Christmas?
A
Wick
candle.
of the Wood. I'm especially excited about these adorable poison apple candles. They're so freaking adorable and spooky. I love it. You can check out Wick of the Wood at Etsy.com, shop Wick of the Wood. Follow Wick of the Wood on Twitter at Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood. Really neat candles. Check them out. Wick of the Wood. You really should. They're on Etsy. Hey, hey, hey.
Give them a sniff.
Welcome back, Ghoul Fiends. Did you enjoy that word from our sponsors?
Or did you skip it? You better not have skipped it.
Better not skip it. If you skipped it, you better rewind and listen to them because they're ruling ass. It's a thing. You're
It's a
ruling
thing.
ass. You're doing
Well,
it.
We're starting it. It's a thing now. Yep.
Another case study about Follie A Deux followed a family who was recently divorced and the ensuing custody battle. In 1991, parents Christina and Wilbur decided they would split. An amicable and fair ruling, guardianship was given primarily to the mother, Christina, with a liberal and frequent visitation granted to Wilbur, the father. Wilbur, by all accounts, was very involved in his kids' lives, and though he wanted to fight hard, he settled with the frequent visits and kept his kids close. A few months later, Christina was remarried to a man named Alan. Alan was different. He was a Jehovah's Witness, a new religion for the kids and Christina, which is always great, you know, go through a divorce and then like introduce your kids like to a new man. Oh, this is your stepdaddy now. By the way, it's our new religion.
He's in a cult.
Yay.
Jehovah's Witnesses are crazy.
Oh my God. And I'm like,
Fucking
not even,
crazy.
like, I'm sorry, listener, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and I just alienated you.
I
with my
doubt any
opinion,
Jehovah's
but
Witnesses would listen to us.
You're probably right.
I doubt it.
Maybe a few recovering Jehovah's Witnesses.
I mean, some excommunicated ones. Good God, I swear.
Christina and Alan were super in love and they wanted to be close. So Christina would soon convert to Alan's faith when they became husband and wife. Husband and wife for life. We're going to have a crazy religion, indoctrinate our kids. And that's how you get to heaven. Bump, bump.
I reckon.
Christina became a Jehovah, and that's when shit really started hitting the fan. Like,
Yeah, because them
hard.
bitches are crazy.
Phew. So the kids, William and Jessica, would spend a long weekend at their dad's, and like most children living in these types of arrangements, they would bring a big overnight bag full of creature comforts, toys, and clothes. You know how it is. Like they just bring entirely too much shit for the 2 days they're going to be over there, right?
Right. I need to bring my bike and and my video games and a little bit of clothes, but probably not that much, and maybe a blanket and some stuffed animals, and I need this Nerf gun.
1 pair of underwear and 3 socks.
Yep. Some clothes that don't match, but as long as
Yeah.
it matches toys, we're good.
It's good. I've got my cars. One weekend when the kids came home from their dads, Christina and Alan began throwing the kids' things away straight out of their overnight bags. Like, welcome home. Give me your shit. It's going in the trash. That would
What?
fucking piss me off. I'd be
That's
like, bitch,
fucked up.
go dumpster dive and get my fucking Legos back. What do you think this is? Is this a fucking game to you? Those are my toys.
Yeah, I just start leaving my shit at my dad's house.
Get your shit together, Christina. So Christina and Alan believed that the children's stuff, all of their belongings, were harboring demons.
Oh, like their toys?
Maybe that's what Skinamarink was.
You
Were the Legos possessed?
know.
The naked Barbie? Was it the Barbie? The Barbie was possessed, wasn't she? I knew that
Must
fucking Barbie
be.
had something. Son
Something
of a bitch.
to do with that shit.
So they were throwing away all their shit because they were like, get these demons out of our houses. So Alan and Christina believed that the kids were acting out and not minding Christina as well as they used to, not because, divorce, stepdad, new religion, like all these huge fucking changes at once. It wasn't that, no. Must have
It
been
was
the
demons.
toys were possessed. Yeah, demon toys.
Demons.
What the fuck?
They're to
did you-
blame every single fucking time. Damn demons.
Those fucking toy demons. Jesus
God
Christ.
damn it.
Have you thrown holy water on your son's belongings recently?
I haven't.
You haven't even considered this yet because he comes back from his father's in quite a mood, and I wouldn't
Oh
be
my
surprised.
goodness. He's probably bringing demons home, and I have never checked.
Son
I'm
of a bitch.
bad mom.
You are. Shame.
Haven't
Shame.
thrown his shit away yet.
It's that fucking hoverboard.
No.
I knew there was magic in it. I knew.
It's demons.
Damn unnatural is what that is.
That's right.
But seriously, all joking aside, Christina, what the fuck did you think they were gonna do? Like fall in line like the damn Von Trapp kids? Yes, mommy. No, like these are children who just went through a whole bunch of crazy, massive changes. Like their lives were uprooted.
It's just kind of traumatic.
Yeah, crazy lengths instead of just bearing the responsibility that maybe their children are having a difficult time processing life, and your whole fucking job as a parent is to help them unpack those feelings.
Or just throw their shit away.
Just
Whatever.
burn their toys. It's fine. Add
It's
more
fine.
trauma. It's okay.
It's fine.
I
It's
actually
fine.
got hot when I was reading about this one because I was like, damn it, Christina. These kids are all grown ups now.
Yeah, they're fine. They're like our age.
So around November 1992, William told his doctor that he and his sister had started going through tests administered by Christina and Alan. These tests were special muscle testing techniques that were said to unlock repressed or forgotten memories. William would eventually begin recalling acts of severe ritualistic abuse from his father, who was now believed to be a Satanist by Christina and Alan. I guess that's where the demons were coming
Those
from.
fucking demons.
These demons. William claimed these things had happened to him and his sister, Jessica. And once the accusations began flowing, more memories soon came. Jessica and William both began detailing more elaborate stories and situations wherein their father, Wilbur, had abused them along with his satanic coven that he was said to be a part of. Of course, there's always a satanic coven. You
can't be a Satanist without a coven. You can't be doing that shit alone.
Yeah, like it's important.
You don't have
to
any power alone. There's power in numbers.
6. You need 6.
Yeah.
How else are you going to satiate the lusts of our dark father?
Well, you're not. That's what I'm saying. Can't do that shit alone. He don't want your single shit. He wants the coven.
So Alan and Christina took these accusations pretty seriously and began talking to the kids every night at length about the trauma they said to have endured at the hands of their father.
Oh my God.
Christina even started helping the kids keep a journal to help record their memories as they came up.
As she put them in their head.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, like, she's just fucking pouring the trauma into these poor babies' skulls more and more. So, enraptured in the excitement of it all, Christina eventually would claim to have memories of satanic abuse at the hands of her own father, which the church began administering flashback therapy. I still don't know what the fuck that is. But it was done at the church, and this specific treatment eventually unlocked a few more memories for Christina, wherein Wilbur was hurting the kids for the benefit of his coven, as she was helpless to protect them, just a mother standing by, witnessing this horrid violence.
Okay.
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 Yeah, it sounds really traumatic if it was true.
Yeah.
If any of it was more than just the fantasies of a fucking crazy, like.
I mean, maybe it wasn't though. Maybe she was right. I'm just saying, you never know.
All right, well,
You
Satan's
never
advocate
know.
over here. Well, as it is, all of it, I'm pretty sure, was complete
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah, probably.
Just a little satanic panic, which was, pretty on brand for the time. Although William and Jessica both went to therapy, neither one of them ever mentioned the abuse to their doctors, which was an odd detail pointed out by the physicians. They seemed to only make these accusations in the presence of Christina and Alan, where they would receive positive reinforcement and oodles of attention for taking part in the therapy and treatments at home. You put yourself in the mind in the headspace of these kids, right? They're going through so many things, and now they're getting like attention, and it must have felt good. I can see how.
Yeah. Positive reinforcement for spitting out the lies.
Totally. Well, William and Jessica witnessed Christina in the throes of violent flashbacks several times, and the trauma from witnessing these intense moments, coupled with the encouragement from their guardians, really created the perfect storm. William and Jessica started to believe in the delusions and began distancing themselves from their father. When the children's omissions and inconsistencies were mentioned by a physician, Christina and Alan abruptly changed their phone numbers, they changed physicians, and they had Wilbur's visitation rights unceremoniously revoked, which must have broken his heart. So, of course, Wilbur wasn't going to let his kids go without a fight. He took everyone's crazy asses to court, which he would do.
Well, that's what you do.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even have a coven. I don't even know 6 people.
It's just me. It shit don't work.
Wilbur. Does anyone get that anymore? Any of you kids
I
now
don't
know
know.
Mr. Ed? Probably not.
Probably not.
It was a talking horse. All right, look it
Although
up.
I think the people that listen to us are probably close to our age, so they know what we're talking about.
Nick at night. Wilbur took everyone to court, and after a none too lengthy or contentious battle, the court ruled the children were indeed suffering from Follie A Deux. The record states,
There is a fair amount of psychotic-like delusion operating on the part of the mother, and there is a shared delusion on the part of the children in support of their mother.
a classic Follie à Trois. I knew it all along.
Jean-Pierre, I figured
Jean-Pierre.
it out too.
Damn it, Jean-Pierre. Thankfully, Wilbur was awarded full custody, and although an order of protection was served, William and Jessica were allowed supervised visits with their mother, Christina. So, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So, speaking of families that go crazy and stuff, Australia. You ever been to Australia, pal? No, me
you
neither.
know, no. No.
You're like, I haven't been to Australia.
I don't have a passport.
Cheeky little weasel. Asking me questions you know the answer to.
I know. I guess
Well-
at this point, everybody else can just assume that I haven't been anywhere.
Oh, well, Australia is a beautiful country full of amazing sights like spiders that are the size of your face and all
Ooh.
kinds of. I think they have like 14 of the most deadly venomous snakes in the world or some crazy. I don't know. Maybe I confuse that with another country. Maybe I'm making that number up. Who knows? I'm a very unreliable narrator, but I swear I heard at some point that Australia
Australia's
had
dangerous.
more deadly shit than anyone else.
Shit's dangerous.
Yes. If the weather isn't trying to kill you, the fucking wildlife
Something
is.
else will.
But it really is a beautiful country full of amazing sights. You got seriously wide open spaces, beaches, deserts, the bush, the outback. Australian families pack into vehicles and explore it all on a regular basis. Nothing unusual about that. Yet one family in particular hit the road, and it caught the attention of authorities and captivated the nation. People are still wondering to this day what on earth happened. The Trump family. In my mind, it was obviously a case of shared mental health issues, and honestly, none of anyone's business. But this case is super strange, and it did put a strain on public services, which did cause it to be highly publicized. And there you go. The Trumps also have a name that's way too close to Trump. And when I was researching this, I would like accidentally type Trump family mystery, and there would be like all these conspiracies. And I was like, wait, what?
No.
What? Oh, no.
That's not what we're looking at.
That you should be a no. The Trumps were your regular, degular, schmegular family. Mark and his wife Jacoba, they really were, like Mark and his wife Jacoba owned a huge land hauling business and this massive black currant farm.
The fuck is Black currant.
Black currant, it's like a type of berry. It's kind of bitter, but people use it in like a lot of candies and jams. It's really popular in Europe. Like I had it when I was over in the UK.
Huh.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of licorice, just
Ew,
a
gross.
little. It may be a little sweeter, but
Ew.
I wasn't a fan. I really wasn't. Yeah, I didn't like it. I was like, if
Licorice
you
is nasty.
I was like, if y'all put some high fructose corn syrup in this shit, it'd probably be slamming.
Well, that's America for you. Just dump some high fructose corn syrup.
Can you fry this?
Ooh, yeah.
So they were pretty successful, and they lived in a beautiful $800,000 home situated on just shitloads of land in Sylvan, which is on the outskirts of Melbourne, Australia. The business happened mostly on the farm and on their property, and the 3 adult Trump children, Raina, Mitchell, and Ella, all worked full-time, keeping the family business productive. The family was close-knit and got along exceedingly well with one another. They were popular, all well-liked in the community, close to their neighbors, and known as these kind, hardworking farmers. So you can imagine the shock the community had when they just randomly disappeared one day. You know, having this farm that's full of activity. Shit, I imagine every single day there was like a routine happening that, you know, your farmer neighbors are going to notice that you're not fucking watering your fields. August 29th, 2016, the family of 5 piled into Ella's silver Peugeot SUV and headed north. Not odd in itself, the family would sometimes have a vacation together, but after a few days of no contact from the Trump family and no activity on their farm, people really started noticing. The neighbors became super duper worried, and they called the police. When the police arrived at the Trump house, the door was completely unlocked. In fact, all the doors were unlocked. The home was wide open. All the family cars were in the driveway, apart from Ella's SUV. All of the cars had keys in the ignition, almost as if the family was inviting someone to come in and just take them. Inside, passports, credit cards, and cell phones were all left behind. Various financial records were either tossed around like they were thrown into the air, while other piles were neatly organized and stacked. Considering neighbors had witnessed the family leave of their own volition and seen no other activity on or near the property since they left, it seemed they were just on a road trip, but it didn't add up. Usually when they went on road trips, they would have somebody water their fields and take care of the farm.
Or bring their money and credit cards.
Why wouldn't you bring your IDs, right?
Why would you leave your house unlocked?
That's the most terrifying part to me. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna come back and have someone living up in your walls.
Right.
Now you're just asking for someone to live up in your walls.
Hiding in your attic.
$800,000 house. I saw pictures of that fucking estate. Let me tell you.
Somebody's hiding in those walls.
My family and your family could all live comfortably in their walls. We would be fine.
They never even know.
They'd never
They
know.
would definitely know. Axel's so
never know.
loud.
Yeah, that's true.
They would know.
Axel, shut up. Yeah, if you guys ever had to live through the monsters in a quiet place, you'd be fucked.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no, we'd never make it.
I hope that reality never happens.
No, poor thing. He couldn't be quiet.
So everyone was incredibly worried. They thought something foul was at play. Several days into the search, Ella showed back up at the farm, totally casually, but she was alone. Her brother Mitchell came back the next day, and one by one day at a time, the rest of the family slowly came back with a very odd story to tell. The first day they went missing, Mark had suddenly announced to his family they were in dire mortal danger and they had to leave now. He demanded they leave cell phones behind so they could not be tracked. That meant no debit or credit cards, nothing that had any electronic signature that could help the people after them find out where they were. The Trumps had no idea what was happening, but Mark, being the strong patriarch in the family, assured them someone was out there after their money. And if they stayed home or anywhere near the farm, their lives were in danger. They drove through a full day to the New South Wales town of Bathurst, which is roughly 500 miles from their front door. That's a lot of driving in a day. As they were on the road, already in a fit of paranoid panic, Mark discovered that his son, Mitchell, had secretly brought his cell phone along.
No.
Right?
Mitchell, you son of a bitch.
Damn it, you fucked it up for everybody.
We're gonna die because of you.
This is all your fault, you little selfish fuck. All because you wanted to play fucking Best Fiends.
I just had to check my Facebook. It's fine.
Well, he screamed at Mitchell and he threw his phone out the window and went on this crazy tangent about how they were now being followed, their safety had been compromised, and it was all Mitchell's fault for bringing his phone. So seeing his father explode in this way, coupled with the super surreal situation of, leaving your whole life behind to escape some invisible threat, may have been why Mitchell decided to fly the coop. Shortly after the family arrived in Bathurst, he just left without even really telling anyone and began making the 500-mile trek back home, with no phone or money.
Good luck.
Yeah,
We'll see you when we get back.
As for everyone else, they kept on trucking. They headed east towards the Jenolan Caves in the Blue Mountain area. It was here that sisters Rihanna and Ella decided to leave. They never articulated why, although we can imagine they were, like Mitchell, alarmed at their father's actions and were likely scared off.
Well, he probably cussed them out too.
I mean, yeah, at some point, yeah, they probably just didn't want to go telling on their dad. Like, they were probably like, Mitchell, what the fuck? Why are you telling the reporters this shit? We don't know what happened. We just decided to leave.
We don't know. We just wanted to go home. I was homesick.
I missed my black currants. They stole a car and they drove to the town of Goulburn, where they reported to police that their parents were missing, as though they didn't know anything. Like, they were just like, oh my God, they're gone. Whee! Ella and Rihanna went separate ways, with Ella arriving at home first. It's almost like they did some sort of weird race. You remember that episode of Bob's Burgers where it's like Lynn's birthday and she's like, nah, I kind of want you guys to do this to me every year.
She gets locked out of her car and has to make her way home with no phone or money.
Yeah.
She takes that bus and it's going in the opposite direction of what she thought it was. Gets sprayed by like multiple skunks.
She's wearing a diaper. I mean, like, it's,
Oh yeah, the street diaper. Aw.
So that's kind of what this reminded me of. I was like, Jesus, what were you guys doing? Like, this is fucked up.
Wearing street diapers, that's what they were doing.
Well, at the time, Ella was very lucid and normal and just as baffled by her family's strange behavior and the road trip as everybody else was. And when Mitchell showed up at the farm the following day after taking a series of bus rides, he too was totally calm and normal. It was kind of odd. Well, the next tromp to come home was Rihanna, who scared the shit out of this dude by hiding away in the bed of his truck.
Nice.
Yeah. But sadly, unlike her siblings, Rihanna was found in a disoriented, nearly catatonic state. She was rambling on about how she didn't know who she was or how she'd gotten there. She was so far gone, she was taken to the psychiatric ward at Goulburn Hospital. I don't know what the fuck must have happened in between or like when she separated from her sister, but yee. Well, Rihanna was unable to shed any more light on where her parents had gone, and considering that Ella and Mitchell did not know either, police launched a massive search for them. All across the country, massive, and Australia is not small. At this time, their odd story had hit the media in a major way, with constant follow-ups as the Australian police watched on, mesmerized. In the meantime, police searched the Jenolan Caves but could find no trace of Mark and Jacoba. As the search continued, there was a strange lead. A young couple in the town of Wangaratta reported that they had been tailed by a man in a silver Peugeot station wagon who they claimed had matched the description of the missing Mark Trump. He apparently drove very close to them and followed them for a time, upon which they stopped their car. The man then got out of his vehicle, ran towards them, stopped, squatted in the middle of the road, stared at them, and then ran off into the night.
Okay. That's totally normal. He was fine. Maybe he was stretching. He'd been driving for a long time. He's just trying to stretch his legs. They're making it weird. Don't make it weird.
It could not be confirmed if this was really Mark or not. But in the meantime, Mitchell Trump appeared on national television to ask the public for help in finding his missing dad. And when asked about what had prompted their bizarre road trip, he seemed as stumped as anyone else. He said, "I've never seen anything like it. It's really hard to explain or put a word on it, but they were just fearing for their lives. And then they decided to flee. It was a build-up of different normal everyday events, just pressure. And slowly it got worse as the days went by. They have a few things and they do build up, but you get sick in some way." That's my Australian accent. It sounds a lot like a Cockney accent. I don't know very many Australians. Sorry, everybody.
Well, you know.
Yeah, basically it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Mitchell Trump just talked a bunch of shit. It was like,
yeah.
But not long after this, the family car was found abandoned in Wangaratta, and sightings were reported of a man fitting Mark's description meandering around town in a daze. The next day, Jacoba was finally discovered similarly wandering around aimlessly in the town of Yas, outside of Canberra.
I wonder if that's how they pronounce it.
Yas. When she was brought to the hospital, doctors would say that her mental health
wasn't of a good standard.
How did she get there?
Nobody knows.
Why had her husband and her gone separate ways? What happened to Rihanna?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. What happened to Rihanna and Jacoba that made them act catatonic and so strangely when they were so fine?
Nobody knows.
No one knew then, and we still don't know now. It's a mystery of history.
Ooh.
Ooh. Woo! Police increased patrols in Wangreta looking for Mark, eventually finding him on September 3rd. He was running along a street in the outskirts of town, near the airport, where he was taken into custody, flipping the middle finger to the throng of curious bystanders and the media who had gathered in mass. So, he hadn't lost his sense of humor, I guess.
Right?
Throughout the whole ordeal, he revealed little of what had caused him and his family to flee. It was described by police as one of the most bizarre cases they had ever seen. With all of the Trump family members found, theories on what had happened were flying. It was puzzling that this should have happened, since they had no prior history of mental illness or drug abuse. With all of the Trump family members found, theories on what had happened were flying all over the place. It was puzzling that this should have happened at all, since they had no prior history of mental illness or drug or alcohol abuse. There were no signs of carbon monoxide poisoning, which can cause psychosis, and no evidence of being affected by chemicals used on their farm. They did not belong to any religious groups. They had no known enemies, and were not in any sort of debts or financial trouble, making it baffling that Mark should become so convinced that someone was out to kill his family. It was as if he just snapped into this meltdown for just reasons nobody knew. Like, he just had a fucking psychotic break.
Yeah.
The main idea was that the family had suffered from Follie A Deux. For their part, Ella and Mitchell Trump have had a hard time explaining it themselves, stating that for whatever reason, they'd been convinced that their lives were in great danger and they were being watched, tracked, followed, and their various press conferences have done little to truly illuminate what happened. Mitchell has said of it,
I just had to go with the family because I wanted to see where they were going. I couldn't leave them. It was very confusing. I still feel confused. I think our state of mind wasn't in the best place. And yeah, there's no one reason for it. It's bizarre. It was tough to see your family like that, and I've never seen anyone like it. But the main thing is they're okay now. Everyone is safe. Everyone is well. So we can just go back to being the family again.
oh yeah? Can you?
I reckon. Hell, who knows?
I mean, I don't know. Fuck, man.
None
It'd
of
be
them
hard
really
to go
know what
back.
happened. So
It'd be hard to go back to normal after all that. But they would all go back to their normal lives and try to put it behind them, shying away from the media and the public eye and begging for their privacy, which makes me feel a little bad for covering it. But the reason that we are is that it's probably one of the most famous cases of a Follie A Deux where there was nobody who died. So I thought, kind of has a happy ending.
they just kind of left it and then came back and everything was fine.
Sometimes you just fuck off for a little while and
Leave all your
slowly-
shit. Let's go.
Yeah, slowly let your kids fend for themselves on their way home.
Everybody
500
find their way
miles, it's
back. It's
okay.
fine.
You'll get there.
It's fine.
You'll
It's
get
an
there.
adventure.
Merry Christmas, everyone. No charges would be filed against any of them other than Ella for car theft, but those were eventually dropped. After this, there's been little word on the whole incident. The family is secretive and mostly unwilling to elaborate further. Why did they just suddenly head out into the road in such a panic? What's the meaning of their separate reappearances or the strange clues surrounding all of it?
Nobody knows.
You know what I think it was?
What?
Follie la famille!
Ooh. La famille.
La famille. So we're going to take a super quick break, let you listen to some more of these amazing sponsors.
Listen to them.
And then when we come back, it's time to turn the lights off and talk about some deep darkness. So listener discretion is advised.
See you in a minute.
Hello, I'm Kona Gallagher.
And I'm Ethan Flick.
We're the husband and wife team behind the True Crime Podcast, And Then They Were Gone.
We're a weekly show that covers unsolved missing persons cases. These are cases that you, the listener, can have an impact on.
That's right. Each week, we bring you a new case of someone who has gone missing and needs their story told. Some of the people you may have heard of, like Kristen Smart or Braceless Pisa. But we also bring you missing people of color and other cases that haven't gotten the mainstream attention that they deserve. We cover the missing person's life and delve into the investigation and media coverage.
One thing that we've learned in the nearly 2 years of doing this podcast is that a lot of these cases could be solved if pressure was put on the investigative agencies to do more. Our hope is that by getting these stories out there, you'll help us put that pressure on them.
So come along with us as we tell these stories, and maybe you hold the key to bringing someone home. And Then They Were Gone is a proud member of the Darkcast Network and Spreaker Prime. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or your favorite podcast app.
Hey there, Ghoul Fiends. It's Ash from Creepy Tapas. If you know me, you know I love to spend countless hours browsing independent businesses, putting things in my shopping cart that I only buy once a year when I spend all of my money supporting all of your businesses. Well, I found the cutest little online shop on Etsy called Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood specializes in unique accent candles with an inventory that consists of one-of-a-kind handmade candles that can fit in a variety of spaces and aesthetics. Wick of the Wood always has their eye out for new candle molds, thrifted containers, and other inspiration. The idea that everyone can have a candle that fits whatever quirky space they need inspires Wick of the Wood to think outside the candle mold and make any idea you might have a reality. Since she was a little girl, the owner has always dreamt of having a little shop where she could sell her handmade items. Under the watchful eye of her dog, she lovingly hand makes each item, packages them, and mails them to you from Seattle, Washington. But you don't have to take it from me. Here are some testimonials from several happy Wick of the Wood customers. Susie says, 5 stars.
I've ordered from this shop, and every time it's an amazing experience. Everything smells amazing, and the packaging is always so cute and functional. This is my favorite candle shop.
Tandra also gives Wick of the Wood 5 stars.
These are so cool. I only burned 3, so I could keep one for show.
Another 5 stars from Duar, who says,
The seller is so kind. Beautifully packaged. The candles smell and look amazing. Bought it for my bestie roomie, and she loves it. Thank you, and thank you for the freebies, too.
Ooh, freebies. Those are just a few of the amazing reviews over at Wick of the Wood. I ordered a few for Christmas, and I cannot wait to smell them and give them as gifts. Guess what you're getting for Christmas?
A
Wick
candle.
of the Wood. I'm especially excited about these adorable poison apple candles. They are so freaking adorable and spooky. I love it. You can check out Wick of the Wood at Etsy.com, shop Wick of the Wood. Follow Wick of the Wood on Twitter at Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood, really neat candles. Check them out. Wick of the Wood, you really should. They're on Etsy. Hey, hey, hey.
Give them a sniff.
Welcome back, Ghoul Fiends. So this next section's pretty grim, and I would caution y'all to remove any children from the room. Maybe put some AirPods in, be sensitive to the people around you. Maybe they don't want to know this stuff. I don't know your life. Fuck, man. This next part's full of triggers, so listen with discretion. Cults are defined as
a quasi-religious group often living in a colony with a charismatic leader who indoctrines members with unorthodox or extremist views, practices, or beliefs.
rises in technological developments has helped accelerate cult development by allowing broad access to potential members. Anyone can get a following. Using platforms, exploiting the algorithms, they gain popularity, and social media, specifically TikTok, are petri dishes of narcissistic wannabe gurus spreading their personal message to the masses uninhibited by location. It's kind of fucked up.
Use the word gurus again.
I just love talking about some gurus. I think I got gurus in my brain, y'all. Hands up if you want us to do a cult series. We've been talking about it for a minute. Cults really provide the perfect environment for a Follie A Deux. They have dominant individuals who treat the followers as subservient while also elevating them emotionally, so they need the leader. They give themselves over fully, allowing their leader to dictate their behavior, actions, beliefs, and lifestyle. Some cult members even have gone so far as self-mutilation. Wow.
That's not how you say that.
Tell you what, you don't want to do that. Self-mutilation, suicide, and moida.
Oh, no.
No, you don't want to be doing
Oh,
that.
no.
That's the big M. Don't be doing the big M to anybody. It's awful. Well, the Heaven's Gate cult is the most famous example of a delusional primary leading masses to rack and ruin. Marshall Applewhite formed Heaven's Gate, a UFO-based religion focused on leaving your physical form behind to board the Hale-Bopp comet, evading Earth's imminent destruction.
Yeah, okay. Let's fucking do it. I mean, how do we jump on the comet? Do we have to like jump on it like a moving train? Just
No, you have to, you kill yourself. That's
and you end up on the comet? Just kill yourself as it's passing?
Yes. So the comet was going to pass and then you were going to die. And as you died,
So I missed my opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's over. It's over.
Well,
You
shit.
can't. Yeah. It's already
Well, shit.
happened. You're going to have to pick another comment.
God damn it.
All
Okay.
right. Well, we were kids. I don't know what to tell you.
I
We
know.
were young. The males in the group, including the aging leader, had been castrated in pursuit of their ideal of androgynous immortality. So that's fun.
Well, they cut their balls off.
They cut their dicks off.
I mean, all of it.
I'm pretty sure that was the gist. That was, or no, maybe it, you know what? I don't know.
I mean, I think castrate is when you take your balls off because they
Hang on.
castrate bulls.
Yeah.
And they ain't chopping their
We're
dicks
gonna
off.
phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
We're gonna phone
I'm
a
pretty
friend.
sure.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, is this phone a friend? I have a question. I just have a question for you really quick, sweetie.
Yeah.
Oh my
Marshall
God.
Applewhite. Okay. Did they cut just their balls off, or was it their dick and balls?
I think it was just the balls.
Okay. Awesome. Thank
I
you.
love that TJ knows.
All right. Well, love you, baby. Thanks.
Love you too.
Bye. So there you have it.
Thanks, TJ.
Just the balls.
Just the balls.
And he would know because TJ listened to like a fucking last podcast on the left, did like a whole like 6-part series on it. So he listened to a lot, from the
Nice.
exploits.
Nice.
So yeah, they was cutting their junk off. That ain't cool, because I guess like there was the androgynous immortality where they could just be like, I guess like cleansed of gender.
That's right. You can't have balls.
Yeah. Medical examiners said castrations showed healed incisions, indicating the castration was performed long before the 39 men and women methodically killed themselves. It's been posed that cults resemble a mass case of shared psychotic disorder. Some may also argue that most evangelical faiths also resemble that.
I would argue that.
Mental health professionals rarely encounter a Follie A Deux in medical practice, and the legal definitions can be very tricky. Therefore, the diagnosis can be easily misunderstood, sensationalized, and misdiagnosed by the media. As we said in part 1, very little advancement has been made in understanding or diagnosing the disorder from, the 19th century. So there you have it.
We don't know much, but it's there.
We're going to get into nasty, nasty. This is Michael Ryan and the Yahweh cult.
Ooh.
Never heard of this one. This was like
I haven't either.
This was a deep cut. During the summer and fall of 1984, Michael Ryan and several other men and women, along with 10 of their children, moved to a farm owned by Rick Stice, located by Rulo, Nebraska. The group was united by a common interest in the teachings of Reverend James Wickstrom, an American white supremacist, far-right activist, and Christian identity minister. His teachings included the supremacy of the white race, anti-Semitism, and a distrust of all established earthly authority, including governments. Group members studied the Bible and referred to God as Yahweh, the Hebrew name of God. The followers believed the truck driver Michael Ryan and a few chosen members of the group were possessed by archangels, and that an infant baby born at the farm had been immaculately conceived. Michael Ryan was considered the leader, and everyone obeyed his word and orders without question. Michael sometimes would call himself king, which, I mean, I don't know, isn't that blasphemy? I thought you weren't
I would think
supposed
so.
to. Yeah. Anyway, Michael would claim to hear Yahweh, who would speak directly to him.
Of course he did.
My man, all you got to do is add the words through the toaster to the end of your claim and you sound as crazy as you are.
Right?
Wow. So Michael claimed he could see visions and messages from Yahweh in the sky.
Well,
Skywriter, my God is a skywriter. He's better than yours. What does your God write with?
nothing.
Mine uses clouds. But he would scare the followers. He would scare the followers, telling them that he had the power to read their thoughts and he had the power of foresight, predicting events that would later come true. And it made me wonder when I was reading that. I was like, did the events come true because he did them?
Oh, maybe.
Like, if I
He was
like,
predicting things he was going to do and then he just did them. I mean, you can never be wrong that way.
I guess I might start doing that, like going into your house and being like, oh, I predict all of the sweets will be gone by the time I have left today. It has been spoken. Although Michael was legally married to his primary wife, Ruth, he also married 4 female group members, 3 of whom were themselves married to other men, claiming, yeah, and it was really convenient too, because all they had to do was be like, God or Yahweh said that was what we needed to do.
Yeah, just a bunch of swingers.
I wonder how
Religious swingers.
I wonder how into that Ruth was.
I don't know. I mean, she might have been down.
There were all these women involved in this farm, and I couldn't find any information about them. So I
Oh,
guess
yeah, I don't
they were just kind of around.
They
you
were just
know?
there.
They were just there. Yeah. Every detail of every activity at the farm was determined by consulting Yahweh through a method called the ARM test. And I wondered when I was researching this if it was similar to the test that Christina and Alan would administer to William and Jessica in that case we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Because I was reading it was like an arm muscle test they were calling it. And I wonder if
see, when I just heard
thing.
arm test, you worded it different earlier. So when I heard arm test, I thought they were like arm wrestling.
It was for real. So the way I just kind of described it, the way that they were described in the literature that I read about the cases.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine them arm wrestling. Like, bitch, I'm stronger than you. What I say goes.
And if I win, that's what God says.
That's right.
So to perform the arm test, one group member would hold his or her right arm out, and a second group member would place one hand on the shoulder and one hand on the wrist, exerting downward pressure on the arm. So the second group member would then question Yahweh, did Mark eat all the bread or whatever the fuck? And if Yahweh's answer was yes, the arm stayed up. And if the answer was no, the arm would yield to the pressure and fall. Highly scientific methods.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that have to do with where you're putting pressure on the freaking shoulder? I mean,
so many extenuating circumstances at play. I mean, like, come on,
that is not logical at all.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm thinking that's what the fuck happens when you push on somebody.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's God. It's probably God. It's fine. It's probably,
you know what I bet it is?
It's probably God.
I bet it's the Skinamarink Lego. It's the Lego monster.
The Lego monster. That's most definitely what it is. Making your damn arm fall.
Putting your Barbies up on the ceiling and making your arm fall.
I know. It's crazy.
We're going to get our jokes in now because in a minute we're not going to be laughing too hard.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Ha ha! Yuck it up, everybody.
Yeah, we're about to go down.
So group members were permitted to use the arm test only with Michael's permission, which again, I think is a really interesting thing because, everything had to go through him.
Well, he was the voice of Yahweh.
These guys may have believed in some feeble-minded bullshit, but they were far from helpless. They possessed both strong survivalist and paramilitary characteristics, huge amounts of food, ammo, and weapons, including illegally modified and fully automatic guns, were all hoarded on the property. They
were fucking set.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. For real.
Bitch, come at me.
Yeah. They're like, we're taking on the government. Fuck! That's the apocalypse!
Well, I don't think they were like maybe trying to take them on, but they were definitely going to protect themselves if they came at them.
Definitely.
You don't belong here.
I'm exercising my Second Amendment.
That's right. Fuck you.
Each of the men were assigned a military rank and were able to rise to the rank of general. The men included Michael's son, Dennis Ryan, who was only 15 at the time, but treated like a full-grown man. The makeshift battalion included property owner Rick Stice, James Thin, Timothy Haverkamp, David Andreas, and James Haverkamp. For months, Michael and his followers committed burglaries under the cover of night, reselling items to financially support the group. They stockpiled weapons and supplies, believing they would be needed during the imminent battle of Armageddon, assumed to occur in the form of a race war.
Okay.
Which is why white supremacy is so important, because we're going to be the ones that win when the shit hits the fan and all the not white people start coming after us, trying to take our guns, trying to put pronouns on us. I didn't have pronouns when I was a kid. Now everybody's got them. This is America.
I know the type.
We know them well. In 1985, James Them, Rick Stice, and Rick's 5-year-old son, Luke, 5-year-old son,
okay,
fell out of favor with Yahweh.
A 5-year-old.
I always love it when people say that God has like turned aside from a child. 5.
Yeah, a 5-year-old.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah. So they all fell out of favor with Michael, really. Like, let's be.
They pissed Michael off. Gotcha.
Right. So Michael claimed there were many reasons, like
they denied God and had bad thoughts.
But the bottom line was there was contention about the property rights, and Michael wanted to state claims that he had absolutely no right to. Remember, Rick Stice was the owner of the farm. So when Michael demoted the 3 to slave status. Yeah. Mm-hmm. At first, they were chained and forced to sleep on a porch. And eventually, the 3 were moved into a separate house on the farm where they were bound and subjected to physical, psychological, and sexual abuse.
A 5-year-old?
a 5-year-old.
Oh my God.
At night, the two men were sometimes chained and forced to sleep on the porch again. And if Rick and James went outside during the daytime, they were guarded by other men to prevent them from running away, kind of like being in prison.
That is fucked up.
In March, while Michael was temporarily absent on an over-the-road trucking job, Rick Stice was able to escape from the farm, but he left poor little Luke behind. Riddled with guilt, he returned after 7 or 8 days. You can imagine Michael was pissed. But, I'm sure he blamed his emotions and reactions on Yahweh or whatever the fuck. Anyway, after Rick Stice had returned, in this fit of rage, Michael shoved his 5-year-old son Luke, causing him to strike his head as he fell down and lost consciousness. No medical help was sought for Luke, who would later succumb to his injuries and die later that evening. Luke Stice was buried in an unmarked grave on the farm property. Early in April, Rick Stice again escaped from the farm, and this time he did not return, leaving the body of his son and his friend James behind. Michael's abuse of James culminated in one final torturous episode near the end of April. One more time, guys, listener discretion is advised. On April 28th, Michael accused James of blaspheming Yahweh and of trying to poison the group by putting household cleaner in a wild turkey that was being stored in the refrigerator. Michael launched into a brutal discipline of James, dictated by Yahweh through the arm test. Michael and Dennis, his 15-year-old son, Andreas, Timothy, and James Haverkamp all participated in these events. James then was taken to a hog confinement building where over a period of 2 days, the men took turns sexually assaulting him anally with a shovel handle until his bowel ruptured. They whipped him on his back and abdomen and shot off his fingertips on his left hand. James was forced to strip naked for this abuse and was chained or tied with baling wire during much of this time. Michael also broke James's arm and allowed his son Dennis to break James's left leg and directed Timothy Haverkamp to break his right leg. Michael then demonstrated to Timothy and Dennis how to skin a human by using a razor blade and a pair of pliers to skin part of James's leg while he was still alive.
Oh my God. What did these people do? Like, what did they do to them to make them that upset?
I think he just supported Rick in the land battle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was just
Good
supporting
God.
him. And yeah, I mean, I don't think he ever really spelled it out. He just said that they'd fallen out of favor with Yahweh, and that was as much of an answer as anybody ever got.
Oh God. Okay. Sorry. Back.
No, it's brutal. It absolutely. When I read it, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's fucking rough. Ultimately, Michael Ryan stomped on James Thim's chest, breaking several of his ribs and shot him in the cheek. James died on April 29th, 1985, after 48 hours of terror and a shocking level of violence. His body was placed inside a sleeping bag and buried in an unmarked grave on the farm. On June 25th, 1985, Andreas and James Haverkamp were arrested for stealing a sprayer rig, which is a truck that sprays things like fertilizer and whatnot onto fields. While in jail, the Haverkamps decided to notify the authorities of events which had taken place on the Rouleau farm. On August 17th and 18th, the farm was searched by a team of law enforcement officers, and the bodies of 5-year-old Luke Stice and James Thim were exhumed. Michael Ryan was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the killings of Luke and James. Dennis Ryan was charged with first-degree murder for the killing of James, and Timothy Haverkamp pled guilty to second-degree murder before Michael Ryan's trial and testified for the state in that trial. Andreas and James Haverkamp pled guilty to lesser charges before Ryan's trial and also testified for the state. So I think they all testified against him. The jury convicted him to first-degree murder, and the court sentenced Michael to death on April 10th, 1986 and October 16th, 1986, respectively. He claimed to be in direct contact with God and vowed to spend his days in prison rewriting the Bible.
Okay.
Right? But he later recanted both statements. He died of cancer.
What?
While on death row at the Tecumseh State Correctional Institution. So on May 24th, 2015. So he spent
a long time.
A reasonable amount of time there.
Holy shit.
I told you. It was rough.
That is fucking wild. Like, I can't imagine anything that those 3 people could have done to deserve any of that.
And do you know what I think is the most fucked up about it? And I'm part of me is always glad when things don't get sensationalized, but so many things get sensationalized. And I think, honestly, that this one wasn't as much because you're dealing with people who are in an aggressive far-right nationalist group. And also we're dealing with white men, it's like their lives are cheap. He's like, women, y'all are worth something. Men, Men are fucking cheap. Send them off to die for their country and shit. Like, it don't matter. Nobody cares. And when I read about that, I was like, the shit that James Thim went through in that hog containment.
That is fucking insane.
People
That
need to
poor
know
guy.
that was disgusting. Like, it was awful. And like, he was alive for all that.
And that poor little 5-year-old boy.
I know. And it makes me so sad that he, like, I guess at the very least he was unconscious, and then like so he just kind of, I guess, died of
I mean, I
concussion.
can't, like, what the fuck did a 5-year-old do?
The reason this falls under Follie A Deux, in case you were wondering, is that when they were testifying for the state, everybody was just like, no, man, like we were operating on what we were being told was the truth. Like we all had this delusion that he, was possessed by an archangel. They believed that. I'm assuming that their wives and their children believed that. So it's definitely one of those things where, people can exercise their religion. They can have their thoughts, their opinions, their ideas. They can teach their kids their dumbass thoughts, opinions, and ideas. It really doesn't matter. But when you're at this level of shit, when someone's asking you to ignore a contused 5-year-old, you need to evaluate what the fuck is going on.
Right.
When people are being demoted to slave status and being chained to a porch overnight, you maybe need to have a look.
And assaulted on a regular basis. And that poor guy having his entire body slowly broken.
I'm really grateful that, like, I'm sad that Rick lost his son, but I'm really grateful that he got away in the end so that he could draw attention. You think about how this could have spiraled if it had been allowed to continue. And if not for him escaping and notifying authorities, there was a really remote farm. Like there was really no reason. Like everybody was there of their own free will. It wasn't like a, fucking mass kidnapping, right? Really fucked up though. So that's our episode, guys. Want to leave you on a really dark note. This might actually be our darkest episode yet.
Maybe. That was a dark story. Yeah. Okay. Super interesting. I've never heard that before.
I just wanted to draw some attention to it because it was men and undercovered,
That was intense.
It was.
I can't believe the things people do to each other. It's especially in the name of God too.
Yeah, in the name of something that's supposed to be like love. You know what I mean? Like that's always everyone's argument, isn't it? For religion, that it's about love.
I think so. Hell, I don't know.
And then I'm like, well, I don't know. This love kind of seems like you are spelling control funny. Right. I don't know what language that is, but
yeah, that's true.
My mom is a Norse pagan, and she, we laugh a lot because she'll be like, man, nothing's scarier than fundamentalist love. Never know what might happen, it might love you to fucking death.
Who's gonna take it too far?
They might love you all the way to the stake.
Yeah, it's not unheard of.
Right.
That's the sad part. Well, that's our show, guys. Thanks
for listening. We love you. Bye. If you want to keep up on things, you can hit us up on all social media.
All of them.
At
Creepy Tapas.
That's right. We're just Creepy Tapas.
All over the damn place.
Creepy Tapas is a free podcast, and we intend to keep it that way. But if you like what you hear and want to support us, please like, rate, and review. It helps us grow so we can keep serving our tiny tastes of terror to amazing listeners like you.
We would love to hear from you, so send us your personal stories to creepytapas@gmail.com. We are self-written and recorded with production by Freddy Cat Productions, music by Kevin MacLeod, and graphics by Panther Creek Graphics.
Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.